Welcome to Wellness Quarters, where wellness lives. My name is Gayle Nowak, and I'm your host, Wellness for All expert leader and communication and emotional wellness coach. The Wellness Universe is thrilled to bring you this inspiring interview series with our members as part of our Wellness for All program. We bring experiences like this to you because we believe happy, healthy, and healed humans lead to peace globally. Join us here on the second Tuesday of each month at 5 p.m. Eastern and the fourth Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern for a 15-minute session filled with insightful interviews and practical wellness tips from top professionals in the wellness universe. Whether you're seeking inspiration or actionable advice to enhance your well-being, Wellness Quarters is your go-to destination for support on your journey to a healthier, happier life. This Pay What You Can donation-based program is supported by generous viewers like you. If you'd like to donate, you can do that now, after we're done, or anytime in the future using the link that I'll post in the chat. And a special thanks to everyone who has already donated. And if you'd like to reach out to me about the show, I've dropped my contact details in the chat as well. At the end of our show, you'll see a pop-up to leave a rating and review, and we're so grateful for yours as it helps Wellness Quarters reach more people seeking tools and practices to optimize their well-being. Today, we're speaking with Marisa Ferrera about speaking without fear. Marisa is a women's empowerment coach, mentor, and #1 best-selling author who helps heart-centered women heal past wounds, transform painful family dynamics, and create healthy, loving boundaries that honor who they are. As a certified connection practice coach, she guides clients through a science-based process that fosters empathy, heart-brain coherence, and intuitive insight, turning conflict into opportunities for healing and authentic connection. Featured on numerous podcasts, summits, and publications, Marisa is known for inspiring others to follow their hearts. She now lives in Colombia, South America, with the love of her life. And Marisa, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I was looking through the description of all your shows, and it looks like it was actually exactly a year ago, last September, when I joined you last. Yeah.
Yes, I believe you kicked us off. You started the whole program.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, that's
welcome
good
back.
news.
It's so good to have you here, and welcome to everybody who's joining us live. So Marisa, let's start with you. And I know that you've shared with me privately, and I think that you've shared some of your story publicly, your own journey of healing and how that sort of began with your own family dynamic. So what can you share, like, what was the turning point that helped you reclaim your voice and begin transforming your family relationships?
That's a great question. And as I probably mentioned in our previous interview and maybe on some other ones, I know I'm not alone in having experienced trauma and dysfunction in my early years. We all go through a lot of challenging experiences, and they impact us in many ways and lead into our adult challenges as well. So for me, a turning point was in my young adult years, or late teens even, when I was really becoming aware of the fear that I had of speaking. I was terrified to speak, afraid of just saying the wrong thing, afraid of conflict, afraid of being judged, you name it. I was afraid of it. And it made it difficult for me to make friends and to create relationships. And so I had a turning point where I felt, it was actually through a counseling session, when I realized that I was really disconnected from my emotions, other than fear that seemed to be very prevalent. And so I was afraid, again, another fear, that I was going to go through life never being able to experience love, never being able to love myself or anyone else, and not be able to even feel love from another. And I knew I didn't want that. So that was a turning point for me to continue working on myself and healing from the past, so I could create the life that I wanted. And I'm very grateful that that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah. So grateful to hear that that's what happened too. And I think that, I mean, I certainly can relate to a lot of what you're sharing. And I appreciate you sort of, you know, acknowledging that many of us have had early experiences that have triggered this fear, and that we we're not alone in carrying that fear forward,
Mm-hmm.
and that change is possible. And that's the work that you're bringing forward now as a result of the journey that you've gone on, and helping women have a different experience and tapping into
Mm-hmm.
that love, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And just feeling
Yeah.
empowered and not
And
so
feeling
shut down.
empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
And
worthy that we
connected.
have. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that family dynamics are maybe how do I want to say this? I was going to say, why is this like the hardest place to practice these tools? Um, and I think, yeah, I think I'm going to stay there. Like, what is it about family dynamics that makes it so challenging to sort of take our new awarenesses and then practice being differently?
Well, and this is just my opinion, but my sense is that the reason we find that so challenging is because our family, we're brought up also being taught that family is everything and family is the most important thing. And we're afraid of losing our connection with our family members, being rejected or ostracized or criticized and judged by them because we want their love, just as a child wants to receive love. If we didn't receive it growing up, and that caused some of our pain and suffering, and now we've done all this work, and now we want to come back and talk and share and heal with those family members, we're afraid of the same thing, that it's going to be recreated. The pain from the past is just going to be intensified instead of released.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can completely relate to that, of that expecting the same result,
Or
and
worse.
then or worse, right?
Or worse.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
or
we don't
worse,
know, right? How it's gonna be received or not. So
right.
it can bring up a lot of fear, and that's why it's so important to do enough inner work where we feel strong and grounded, so that even if it's not received well, it doesn't throw us off center and doesn't have us retreat back into that inner child wound of I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. We would be able to be in a state where we know it's not about us, it's about our family members that are still stuck in their own woundedness and unable to receive us where we are. So we're coming to that in a very different space if we've done some work. And it doesn't mean the healing is forever. Like, I'm still working on it, right? It's never really gone. So it's not like you wait until you're completely healed before you try anything new or approach new conversations with family members that you're challenged with. It's just about taking steps, a step at a time, and continuing to learn. And for me, the biggest thing that I became aware of is the more we come from that place of love, when we approach anything new with our family members, when they feel that essence of love coming from us, that we're not coming from a place of judging them or blaming them for past pain or trauma, if they can feel that, that opens the door. It allows them to be a little more open than they would be if we come storming in with, I've just gone to therapy and I've discovered that you've done this, that, and the other thing, and it's all your fault. It isn't really. We're all wounded beings, even our family members that have hurt us, that came from their own pain.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, I think that the healing piece, and being able to have room for those emotions and to speak those emotions in the proper container, so we can
Mm-hmm.
just hear it
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves, is
Mm-hmm.
really important for getting to that place where you can be back in the room with family, and come from that space of
Mm-hmm.
love. Do you find that to be the case in your
Yes.
experience and with your work with
Yes.
clients? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You need to have a safe space to be able to share how you feel and to be able to express even the anger or the resentment or the rage that could be buried and may have been buried for years and years and years. It's not healthy to express that to the family member, because that's not going to serve either one of you, and certainly not going to help your relationship. So if you have even a trusted friend or a counselor, coach, anyone that you feel safe with, it's important to release those feelings, because otherwise they just stay stuck inside us and they creep out in all kinds of ways when we get triggered, right?
Yeah.
And we know every time we get triggered, there's another opportunity for us to realize, ooh, there's another area that I've got some healing work to do.
Right, right. And you had alluded to some steps, some steps around this process, and you have a simple yet powerful 3-step process. Can you walk us through that?
Sure. Something that I think is really helpful when you want to speak and you're afraid to speak. We all know this. The first step is really just to pause and take a deep breath. And we hear this all the time, but it's amazing how many times we forget that very first step. Just stop, pause, and breathe and ground ourselves and get centered, right? So that helps to regulate our nerves, so we're not in that fight or flight state. We're just calm and be able to connect with our hearts. And then the second step is to really silently to yourself, think about what truth in the moment. What's your intention? What is it that you want to speak? And what's the intention? What outcome do you want? So that you're not coming from fear, you're coming from what you want instead of what you don't want. So many times we keep focused on what we're afraid to say or why we're afraid to say it. But if we shift that and look at what's my intention, where do I want this to go? So if your intention is to create a deeper, more authentic and meaningful relationship with someone, that's going to be a lot easier to speak what you want to say than if you come from the fear that they might not like what you're about to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For the second step. And then the third step is to really speak from that centered place and from that place of love in your heart. Because when we do that, just the tone of our voice and the words that we use come across with a lot more strength and clarity. And people are much more, like I said earlier, receptive. So the first step is to pause and breathe. The second step is to just be mindful of your intention. What is it that what's your truth that you want to express, and what's the outcome that you want to experience? And the third one is to speak from that grounded, present state from your heart. And it sounds simple, but it works.
Yeah, it does sound simple. And thank you for, mentioning, like, we forget too, especially when the stakes feel high,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or if it's high conflict. Can you speak to, it's 3 steps. And I've noticed, this has been my experience, sometimes those steps don't have to happen one right after the other, right? Like
Right.
sometimes we need some time and space. Like
Exactly.
sometimes the pause is like 24 hours,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly. It depends on the intensity of what's happening in the moment, right? Because sometimes if you end up with an experience with someone that you care about, a family member or whomever, and you can feel the tension is there, the triggers are there for both of you. If you're not able to calm yourself, if a breath isn't enough, then to just be honest about that and acknowledge it to the person, not walk away in anger and slamming doors and with accusations, but to just own it and to be able to say, you know what, I can really feel that we're both triggered. I don't know, whatever words you use in your family, the word trigger might not work for you, but whatever your words are, but to just acknowledge what is. Okay, we both seem to be really upset right now. And I honor the fact that, you're upset, I'm upset. We both need a space to be able to express ourselves, but maybe this isn't the right time. Would it be okay with you if we stepped away for whatever time you agree upon? Depends again on the intensity, right? Maybe you just need to go to another room for a few minutes and both of you calm down. Maybe you need 24 hours, but I wouldn't let it go long, because people tend to avoid if there's too much time. Then it's easier to just say, oh, forget it, it's not worth it, because you're afraid of going back into those feelings again. So I wouldn't have it, go too long, but it's really about expressing your truth, just saying, I was really hoping we could have this conversation, but and owning your own feelings, saying, I'm realizing I'm really upset right now and I'm triggered, and it's not your fault. When you take the blame away from the other person, that also helps them to calm down, to just say, wow, what's coming up for me is, and stated, I'm moving into this feeling of feeling like I'm not good enough. And I know that's not what you're saying to me. And that's how I'm feeling. I need to do some more work. So if you use I statements and just own whatever's happening for you, the other person will respect that. Right. And it's really, even starting a conversation, I have found, is helpful when you're afraid to speak, even to start by saying to the person, you know what, my relationship with you is really important to me, because we know our family loves us. We love them. Well, sometimes we don't feel that way, but if you do, you can just say it, right? I know you love me. I love you. And yet sometimes when we get together, our energies we end up triggering each other, right? Just acknowledging that. Just say, can we talk about it? Like, tell me what comes up for you. Let the other person speak first, because when they feel heard, they're also more open to listening to what you have to say. But really listen, not just to interject, right? Listen with an open heart, with a true intention of really wanting to understand them. And when they feel that way, you acknowledge that, you express it back, you give them empathy and compassion, and then they're much more able to give that back to you. So the bottom line, it's really all about just speaking your truth from love and from your heart. And even if it's hard, you can even say, this is really hard for me. I don't want us to argue. I really want us to be able to get along, and I'm trying, and I know I'm messing it up right now, right? How can I make it better? Like, work together instead of being against each other. Find a way to find that common ground and work together, because you both want the same thing. That's what has been my experience. Even when people think the person they're having trouble with doesn't care, they do. We just put off that image, like, I don't care, because it's easier to put the wall up and to block it, because we think we won't feel the pain, right? But we do. We still feel it.
Yeah.
So I don't know even what I just said in that ramble. It
was not a ramble.
What you heard.
Beautiful tips here, and I love that you shared some verbal stems, some prompts, some words to help us get started. I notice that I'm feeling, I care about you, and I notice that I'm upset. I think, one of my go-tos is, I really want to talk about this and I'm not ready yet.
Yes.
And just owning, like you said, speaking what's true for you in the moment. And when you're doing that with people who care about you, who truly love you, they do hear you, and they're coming from love too. And I think that, this whole point and tip of leading from love, even when you're feeling nervous and anxious, and just staying centered on that, really helps to disarm ourselves.
That's a good word. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very true.
It helps sort of dissipate that nervous energy a little bit too. And so we're able to express our vulnerability, but also our truth. So that's what I heard from what you were sharing.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for sharing it back with me, because sometimes I just start talking and I don't even know where it's coming from. It just kind of comes out. And then I think, did it even make sense what I just said? Right. So I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah. Well, I know you have lots more wisdom and love to channel and share and bestow upon us. And you have a chapter in the book, 25 Tools for Transformation. And you also have an upcoming workshop. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. My chapter is chapter number 12, and it's called, surprise, surprise, Speaking Without Fear. And the subtitle is Release Past Wounds and Create Healthy Boundaries. And the tool that I share in that book is a longer process that really walks you step by step on how to release a painful past memory, something that's been stuck with you and that's impacting you maybe in ways you're not even aware of. And so with my upcoming workshop, that's actually 2 weeks from today, September 23rd, I will share a link. I'm going to be giving people an opportunity to go through that tool step by step with me, so they can experience it with some support. Because if they have any questions or need any feedback on anything, I'll be right there with them. And even though it will be recorded, if people aren't comfortable sharing during the recording, we can always chat after I stop the recording. So it's a really wonderful opportunity to get some real support on working through something that's been challenging for you, and seeing where it can take you next. So I'm really looking forward to having that experience with people. And I will share the links. I'll share the link. I'm also offering a 50% coupon code for people who want to join that session, and that's hopefully all going to go there. Did it all? Yes, I think it's all in there. And my Wellness Universe profile link, and also a free guide. I have a free guide called Resolve Conflicts Peacefully, and that's another step-by-step process that you can use to work through a specific issue with someone. And it's really helpful if the person you want to work with actually, if you share the tool with them, this guide, because then you can use it together. I've had couples use it too, where they're actually looking at step one and working, because sometimes we just don't know, right? Like we want to resolve a conflict, but then when somebody says something, it creates another conflict because we get triggered again by what they just said. Right. And then it kind of goes from bad to worse. And so it's really, that one's a 10-step really to work through a specific thing with somebody. So that's for free. So yeah, I'm looking forward to connecting with people.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all the ways that people can connect with you and all of these beautiful resources. And I believe I have the Resolve Conflicts Peacefully guide. I love it. Looking forward to your workshop coming up. And I just want to thank you for sharing your wisdom and your time and your energy with us today. And thanks for everyone joining us live and all your supportive comments and questions. Thanks to those who are catching the replay. We'd love to see you for our next show on Wednesday, September 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time with Sandy Krasnowski. Sandy, I hope I said that correctly. And we will be talking about ancestral connection through humming. Until then, be well, everyone.